You ever stop and wonder what our unique potential is? I mean, not just as you and me, but as human beings. Well, some ancient wisdom suggests we have a very specific and actually very powerful advantage when it comes to finding real inner peace. Let's dig into what that is. All right, to get our heads around this, we're going to start with a pretty wild question from Buddhist teachings. Who's actually superior? Us, down here on Earth, or the Devas, these celestial beings who live for like eons in a state of just pure pleasure? You might think the answer's obvious, but it's not.
So, believe it or not, the answer is that we're basically on par. They're equals. Yeah, devas get to enjoy this incredible bliss, but we humans, we have an advantage that they don't. Something so valuable that even these heavenly beings desire it.
And that big advantage? It all comes down to just three extraordinary qualities that are totally unique to the human experience.
So, what are they? What are these three things that we possess that are so precious, even beings living in paradise would want them? Here they are. First up, mindfulness, the ability to be truly aware. Second, courage, the guts to face reality and actually strive for something better. A kind of courage that's born from the very struggles that devas never have to deal with. And third, the ability to engage in a supreme spiritual practice, to actually walk a dedicated path to enlightenment. These are basically our human superpowers.
And this is the real game changer. Because we have these qualities, we can actively speed up our spiritual journey. The devas, they're just chilling in their bliss. They can't do that. They're kind of stuck. But we can apply effort and make real, tangible progress, and fast.
So where does this accelerated path actually lead? Well, it leads to becoming what's called an arahant, a fully enlightened being, someone who is completely free from all the mental junk and suffering that so often runs our lives. This is the ultimate potential that's just sitting there inside our human existence. Okay, so you might be thinking, fully enlightened? That sounds pretty intense. It must require some impossibly complex secret method, right? But the core instruction for how to actually get there is, believe it or not, surprisingly simple. It's accessible to absolutely anyone. The entire practice, the whole thing, really boils down to this one super precise instruction. Don't let unwholesome thoughts exist in the mind, not even for a space as tiny as the tip of a grain of sand. It's all about achieving a mind so clear that all that negativity just has no place to take root. So what are these unwholesome thoughts? Anyway, it's not some mystical idea. It's the stuff we all deal with every single day. You know, the stress about work, the worry about the future, getting irritated in traffic, feeling jealous. It is the mental static that causes all of our suffering. And the method for clearing out all that static, it's just as direct. Step 1, just anchor your mind on your breath. Step 2, keep your awareness right there in your body. And step 3, when one of those unwholesome thoughts inevitably pops up, and it will, you don't fight it, you don't wrestle with it. You just let it go and gently bring your focus right back to the breath. You're just replacing the static with stillness. That's it. So what does this actually look like in practice, day to day? There's a really simple analogy that helps visualize the whole thing. Just think of your mind over a full 24-hour period. We're about to see how this simple, consistent practice can totally transform it. All right, so when we're just starting out, our day might look a little something like this. Maybe we practice for an hour, that's about 4% of the day. And the other 96%? Well, it's often filled with that familiar mental chatter, the worry, the stress, the whole shebang. But as we practice more and more consistently, something really amazing starts to happen. That space for negativity, it starts to shrink. We might get to a point where it's 50-50. Half our day is spent in this mindful awareness, and the other half is still filled with the usual noise. But look at that. The mind is finding its balance. And this, right here, this is the goal. The point where the mind is so consistently clear and present that those unwholesome thoughts just have no space left to even arise. The entire pie chart becomes wholesome. And this isn't some abstract idea for the distant future. The source material calls this achieving nirvana, right here in the present moment. So, to bring this all home, the technique is super clear. The potential for this deep, profound peace is a unique part of being human. The only thing left is our own diligence, our own effort. Which really just leaves us with a final question for you to take with you. As you go about the rest of your day, just kind of notice how much of your own mental pie chart is taken up by all that static,
And what would it feel like if that percentage started to shrink, even just a little bit?